Welcome, Coaster Spotters, to a very exciting news update. This is Alex, and we're going to talk all about Cotaland in Austin, Texas. If you've never heard about it, do not be ashamed. A lot of people haven't. However, this is at the Circuits of America racetrack, which holds a lot of famous NASCAR F1 races and more. But in the last 2 years, they have been beginning to build up an amusement park, very similar to what the Suzuki circuit actually did in Japan back in the late 90s. At one point, they actually had a premier spaghetti bowl clone. But getting back to the news here, this is a location that in late 2023, when Circuit Breaker opens, you are going to want to have your bags packed, your tickets booked to the Austin, San Antonio area for Circuit Breaker, which is what they're calling America's first tilt coaster. However, that is kind of not true. Harry Potter and the Escape from Gringotts at Universal Studios Florida does have a tilt track. However, that's only at a 45-degree angle that you drop. It's a small drop, and obviously so much more is going on. It is not the core focus of that ride for sure. But this is going to be outdoors, and let's just take a look at that layout right away. This comes via the park and was courtesy of the American Coaster Enthusiasts. And you can see that even if this thing did not have a tilt coaster section, the rest of the layout would be absolutely phenomenal. Now, this is being built by Vekoma. This is actually going to be one of 4 tilt coasters that the Vekoma has sold. We know of 2 others. One will be coming to Energylandia in Poland, and then we're pretty sure that Six Flags in Saudi Arabia will also have a tilt coaster from them. But it's very exciting that these coasters are coming, as we did have one tilt coaster built by Vekoma back in the mid-2000s. I'm sure if you're a coaster enthusiast or even someone who watches a lot of viral videos, you've seen it. It's Gravity Max in Taiwan. This only did one thing pretty much. It did the tilt coaster section. It went into a vertical loop, it did a helix, and that was it. And I was very hesitant to do a video until we got a layout to make sure that that was not just going to be the case here. And it definitely is not. We have an insane layout. Vekoma, if you didn't know, in the United States, which I, again, wouldn't blame you, is a very different company and does very different rides from what they did with the Boomerangs, SLCs, and whatnot in the 90s and the 2000s. Their rides now are very smooth. They push the limit of what they can do, and the elements that they have on their rides would not be out of place on the most recent Intamins that we've seen open in the last few years or in our RMC. We do not have a height released yet, but I'm estimating around 125 to 150 feet tall. And of course, if you're going to be in that back row when you're lifted up on the tilt section, you're going to be way up there. And then lengthwise, I think we're looking around 3,000 feet or so. They're going to be definitely packing so much into that short track length. You're going to be going up into what I can only describe as the second element of the flying snake dive on Stormrunner, but in reverse. Getting lots of airtime coming down from that, doing, I would explain, as a double down with a 0G roll, which we've never seen, into another tunnel, which, if you haven't noticed, they were very specific to show the midway and the entranceway. So it's definitely going to take advantage of being able to provide you those amazing views of all these amazing elements. It will be just as fun to watch it, photograph it, as to ride it, I think. Once you go down into that second tunnel, it looks like you're going to go into a Immelman, but have a inverted stall element to it. You're going to drop down into another off-access airtime hill, up into a wave turn that goes over that midway again, over a S-turn airtime hill, over the midway again, into a nice turnaround, and then wrap it up with a 0G roll and a pop of airtime up into the brake run. So, as I said, this looks amazing. We really need to talk about Vekoma and why we haven't seen a lot of these new age things. Their trains are very comfy. If you've ridden any of the SLCs in America with the Vest trains, such as the Great Northern Eastern at Marius Piers, very similar seats to that, as we know, are very comfortable. So if you think of nothing but Vekoma as boomerangs and SLCs, that is definitely a misnomer. So the next thing we need to talk about at Circuit of America, which is opening later this year, is Palindrome, which is a Gerstlauer Infinity Coaster. This was announced back during IAAPA. Did not do a video about it, but we can bundle it all together here today and have one video and talk about it. It is going to be an infinity coaster that's going to be a shuttle coaster, but full circuit at the same time, which I know is very confusing. But if you've been on ZDT's Switchback, which is not too far from this park, it has a switch track at the bottom of the first drop. So you do the entire circuit and then you end up at the bottom of the first drop and go over to the station. So it can run 2 trains and boost that capacity, of course. I've done something very similar in the concept with Mystic at Wallaby Alps in France. And let's say that was one of my favorite coasters on that entire 2019 Europe trip, which had over 200 roller coasters. So that's saying something. So this thing's going to be 95 feet tall. You're going to start out with that vertical lift hill, of course, go into a vertical drop with a twist down it. Then you're going to enter into a inverted stall that's going to go right over the entrance driveway of Coda. And then you're going to go into a wave turn. And now you're going to be actually using that terrain that this coaster sits on to its advantage. So the entire difference from the top of the lift hill to the bottom of the spike will be 111 feet. And then you're going to do a vertical spike, which has a very unique element. It almost has a airtime hill, but while you're going vertically up a reverse spike, which, I mean, come on. What is this thing? This looks amazing. Then you're going to do all that in reverse. Definitely not going to be as intense as the first run. If you've been on ZDTs, you know that. But yeah, and then, you know, you end up at the bottom of the first drop, as I said, and it has a switch track to get you back to the station. So this is going to be an amazing 1-2 punch. And as I said, you're going to want to go to Cotaland next year once these 2 coasters are open. They're also opening a what can be explained as a high capacity sky coaster. So that's also going to be really interesting to try out. And we will be there definitely next year. We might actually try to hit up the park and Dr. Diabolical's cliffhanger as well later this year. So you definitely should hit that subscribe button and comment down below. Please tell me, what do you think of these 2 coasters? They are definitely going for that uniqueness edge. And I love unique rides, if you don't know. Even if they're not amazing rides, I love unique and different stuff. So this is definitely up my wheelhouse. And be sure to subscribe for more, as I said. This is Alex for the Coaster Spot. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.